Morning. So we're back on the house build today and we're going to give you guys a catch up with where we're up to. Stone sills are fitted, let's show you them. So what we've done is we've washed down with a pressure washer effectively the roof, the guttering has gone on, and then we've washed from the gutter down in each lift as the scaffold has come down. We've got now down to the point in which the stone sills were fitted, so they've gone in. The scaffold is now coming down again, and it will come down, in fact this side will probably come all the way down to the floor now, and then we can pressure wash the last of the brickwork off. Now that makes a massive difference. When the bricks come, they've obviously got sand or brick dust between them on the pallets, and that really never come off. So when everything is put up and then you've got all the dust of everything blowing around as well on site, plus any mortar or anything that's come down the face of the brick. So by washing it off, you're getting the brick back to what it is supposed to look like, and it just looks clean and crisp. Plus then when you're washing it, if you do notice anything like, you know, there's the odd bit that wants, you know, it's had a blob of cement dropped on it or something like that, you can knock it off, you can clean it up, rather than get to the end of the job, the scaffold come down, and you look back up and then go, oh, I wish I'd have done something with that. So, show you guys where we've washed. So, classic example is here. If you take a look at this panel of brickwork, see how it's all like dusty and pastely, and all the dust on your hand from it. So what we're doing is by pressure washing it, we're washing all that rubbish off, getting rid of it, and it looks like it does where we've washed above. So you'll see it looks a deeper red, the bricks look more defined, it's less pastely as a complete panel. And we've done the same again with the roof. So when they fit the ridge cap in, it's both dry and wet fixed, so there's a bed of mortar and then it's mechanically fixed with a screw through each capping. But if any of that mortar rolls, a bobble of it rolls down the roof, you've got like a trail of cement. You've also got footprints, maybe up and down as they've been going up and down the ladder, where the tips of the boot has gone through the ladder and just touched the slate. So we don't want all them marks left up there, so forever and a day that you can see. So what we've done is we've pressure washed the roof down. Some of the gutter's been fitted, we're waiting for the rest of it to come in. The rest of it we can take with the cherry picker. We can also take off all the covering that we put over the plinth detail. So again, any snots or cement as they've been going along that have fell and hit that, and you can see where all the mortar has hit it. And by putting that on, it's just covered it to stop any mortar landing on it, setting, staining or damaging any of the plinth detail. So it's a good job we did that. Good idea by Bobby and Lenny. So, I don't know where Wayne is. You wouldn't tell by looking at us, but we all enjoy cake.
I just love cake, I just love a bit of cake.
At the minute, Edwina is going through a phase of making 2 or 3 cakes a week. Papa G has made a cake because Wayne has been asking him for a cake. So Papa G has made Wayne a cake, a Victoria sponge cake, and he's told me that we need to make sure we get this on camera. So, let's see what he brings.
Put it on the back of here for it with a knife. I'll clean my knife as well. He's taller than me, isn't he, so. Made it for you.
Fuck, I'm going to get the chops off.
There's a knife there supplied.
Is he opening it first?
You're not having any.
I am.
Where is it? It's mine.
That's
No, it's mine, isn't it?
Unwrap it nicely there.
I feel like you're taking the piss. See? I feel like you're taking the piss.
It's a Victoria sponge.
Dickhead. Where is it?
That's it. You said you wanted a Victoria sponge. It's a Victoria sponge.
Sorry, come in. Saw the shape of it. Victoria sponge always round.
No. Any shape.
Well, I don't think that's very funny. Oh, they're my Pazzo nails.
No, they're mine.
Fucking off.
They're not.
They fucking off.
They're
32
mine.
mil.
For there.
That's my gun you had out the van.
No, it isn't.
It is.
Is there no cake really?
No.
For fuck's sake.
I'm Robin.
It's a joke, isn't it?
Because I am starving.
It's fucking bullshit. I think we need a meeting.
So we've had Josh and the guys from Total NRG, which is the firm that we're using for the ground source, heat pump and on all the underfloor heating. So they've been and fitted. I haven't been in and had a look yet. Not that I know really what I'm looking at, but they fitted out the plant room. There's a whole load of stuff in here. I haven't got a clue what it is. I know that they did say to me before they left, they've fitted the one tank in here. The tanks that are going into the house, they've not yet done. They're coming back next week to do. So I think either they, Wayne, or Mr. Chubbyford is going to have to explain what this is. But it looks pretty impressive, to be fair. And as I understand it, I think that, from memory, was the machine that powers everything in terms of the ground source, so the outside stuff. I believe that is the tank that runs the water for the underfloor heating, and that's the first one of the tanks over there for the hot water. And then obviously we've got the other ones to go in the loft area. So all looks pretty tidy, neat. It's a shame actually, when you look at it, it's quite impressive. It's a shame all the pipes got to be lagged. Because it does look pretty smart at the minute, but if the reason that they lag everything is because ground source works on a lower temperature than like your traditional perhaps oil or gas central heating boiler, every degree counts, so you don't want any energy loss between getting it from here to the house and obviously when you're using it. So, but like I say, we'll get one of the others to explain a bit more about that because I don't know what I'm looking at. So we'll go inside in a minute and have a look at the heat recovery system that we're putting in place. Papa G's just dropping us the 13 tonner off. We've got some bits and bobs I want to get in terms of drainage. I want to track in. Now we've had a little bit of time for the ground to settle. It's a little bit damp. Where all them trenches went in, where we put all the ground source heat pump pipes, they've all started to settle now. So I want to track it all in, scrape the top again, level it up, track it in again, and then we'll let it settle, because it's constantly, the ground will constantly sort of settle down where you've dug the trenches out and refilled them. So we're going to get that done before the machine goes to the next job. So we've got it all going on this morning. We've got JDC here starting to pull the heat recovery system and the wiring through. We've got Wayne is on stud walls and helping again with the heat recovery. Show the heat recovery in a second. Windows, once the cills are in all the way around, we can then order them. We can't order them until they can come and do a final measure. But at the moment, what we want to do is get ready to put the insulation and the underfloor heat in and then screed the floors inside. So we've got to get it all dry in here. So hence why we put these temporary sort of frames in with polythene on. So it's still letting the light in, but it's keeping all the water out. The other thing as well is obviously birds. We don't want birds in here. We've already had one in the rafters starting to make a nest. Luckily, it got scared off and went, and we've sealed all the windows up so it can't now get back in. But yeah, we want to get this dry, get it all cleared out, and get everything ready for the underfloor heating. So this is the heat recovery system. So basically what we've got is the main unit itself, and what this does is this takes from any areas of the house that are producing heat, so for argument's sake, showers, the expeller or the extraction from the cooker or the kitchen, but particularly bathrooms, this will remove the hot air from the room. It will bring it back into this unit. It'll then take that heat and put it through a heat exchange and get rid of the air that you don't want. So anything that's sort of dirty air from the bathrooms or from the kitchen or anything like that, it gets rid of that air, but it's put the heat element of the air through an exchange, so then the fresh filtered air that's coming back in from outside is warmed up to that level and put back into the rooms. So in other words, it's constantly moving the airflow around every room in the house. That way we don't need trickle vents in the windows for our build, which is good, because what I didn't want with the pigs down there, if the wind is blowing in this direction, I didn't want any potential pig odour coming in through the trickle vent. So this is all filtered air throughout the entire house. But it's quite a complicated bit of kit. It's got to be piped to every room. So basically we've got a manifold that comes, I can't see, so that's to supply air to the rooms. So the pipework comes off and goes to this manifold, and then everything's piped, feeding the rooms. The other one is the one that is effectively sucking all the air from the rooms. And then we've got the two on this side, which are piped directly to the outside of the house. So we've got one port on the gable which is there, and one port on the side of the house. So they're apart, so effectively you're not throwing out the dirty air and it's sucking it back in the next vent. So we've constantly got that flow of clean air coming in. So this is the manifold then for the extracting air from the rooms. So you can either use the side or the end, but you've got all these different ports, and basically these are the pipes that are piped to each room. So I think anything within a certain meterage is fine. It's a singular pipe in and on the out one here. Anything over, I'm sure Wayne said it was about 10 meters, requires 2 pipes going to it for the same purpose. So all these ports will eventually be filled with these pipes and threaded around the house, through all the floor joists, through the ceilings, whatever, into each room. And then in each room there'll be like a disc that you can alter the flow of air through in the ceiling. So quite complicated, quite a lot of work to go on, but it's all got to be done. Okay, so Wayne's been banging the stud work in. So we're now in Lincoln's room. So we've got the stud between Lincoln and Trixie's room, and basically what we wanted is to make use of this funny shape that we've got here. So we took the opportunity then of putting this in place, because what we've got to do is not just this heat recovery pipe work up and down to service the downstairs room, which is the kitchen, but also we've got to get the hot cold water supply up from the tank to the kitchen. So all of that services we want to tuck nicely in that corner. We can box it in, the rest of it is a wardrobe, we can always get to it if there's a problem, and then we've also took the opportunity while we're doing it to bring it out slightly and create like a media wall. So again, he can have a TV in his bedroom, he can have his Xbox or whatever computer stuff that he's got going on all built in. So another media wall going in, which will be quite smart, everything tucked away, no cables on display, and then he can have his desk for his schoolwork and his PC or bits and bobs as he gets older. Okay, so downstairs now, so we're in the kitchen, and obviously we've got them 2 heat recovery pipes coming through. We've got to bring all the water, like I say, down there, which will then service the entire kitchen area. It's a bit of a nuisance. You've got to be so clever in how you're thinking of doing this, because this block and beam floor, as fantastic as it is, there's a stud that goes, or well, you can either have metal stud work or timber stud work on the underside on brackets. We've opted for timber, but effectively it's probably like cross-battened the other way. So the voids in which you've got to run your services through would have been fine if we hadn't got heat recovery, but because we've got heat recovery and these pipes are 75mm, it then brings the ceiling height down. So we've had to be super clever on where we've, the routes in which we've taken to get this to where we need it to be, so that it actually fits within the void between the main beam and where the blocks sit higher, so that we've got the option of bringing it through without actually having to lower the entire ceiling level. So there's been quite a lot of thought process go into all that. Like I say, it's fantastic, but if you had timber floor joists, you would have arguably had 7 or 8 inches of timber floor joist there free, in which you can put all your services through, and that wouldn't have been an issue. But because we've got this system, I don't want to lose ceiling height. Standard ceiling height, perhaps in new houses, is lower nowadays, but generally is 2.4 metres, and I want 2.4 to the ceiling. So, okay, so we'll leave these guys to it. Wayne has got plenty to be getting on with. Mark, I think, has gone round to the auction, because on the farm we are looking at different options of what we're going to do next. So we'll bring you some of that as we get to it. But the next thing that we've got with the extra land that we've bought is we're going to buy some cows and some sheep. So a little bit early, I think the sheep will be looking around about June, July time, but at the moment he's going to see if there's anything worth looking at in the auction today, because it's Wednesday, so that's Drayton's market day. So if there is, we might have a bit of that to show you, but if not, we'll catch you next time. So if you like what you've seen, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll leave you with a very short house build montage. Cheers.
Probably have a bit of chocolate. said you know.